Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I wanted to do a really simple and easy project today. It's a one board birdhouse. It's something that doesn't cost a whole lot of money. It's easy to build. I did this one with my daughter, my oldest, and she really enjoyed it. I spent a good amount of the day yesterday putting this together, and I just finished it up. Let's go over some of the tools you'll need, and we'll get started. Okay, so some tools you may need: a drill, a countersink bit with a 3/16 drill bit, center punch, an apex with a Torx 25. These were exterior deck screws, but they were the only ones I could find that had 1 inch with no thread at the top, so that it would actually act like a hinge. 1.5 inch hole saw, a nail set. This is a 2/32, tape measure and pencil. I have a 15 gauge nail gun with 1 1/4 nails, but 1.5. That seems to be like where you want to be with the nails. Wood glue. Sometimes you're going to need a razor knife. This is your eye screw for what I use as the perch, and I bought these latches on Amazon. I'll try to put the link in the description. Sanding blocks, some wood filler, a square of some sort, and if you have to go old school, a hammer. And you can buy these miter boxes almost at any hardware store. To finish the project, spray bomb seems to be the quickest, but primer, definitely, I always try to use primer before any painting project. Always comes out nicer. And always be on the lookout at Home Depot for mistakes made. I bought these for like 50 cents, and you can find various colors to where they might work. Perfect for this. Keep the project cost efficient. The material I'm using is 1x6. It really measures 3/4 by 5.5. I have a 8-foot length here, which marked out I only took up a little less than 6 foot. So I went ahead and I cut the first, and was left with this right here. I have it all marked out for my cuts, the allowance for the blade, and if you find them in 6-foot lengths, you'll be able to make this. If not, an 8-foot board, 3 of them will give you 3 birdhouses. I'm gonna lay this down, show you the layout. That way you can pause over each section to get the measurements. Okay, so your first side is going to be 12 inches to your long point, right there. 15-degree miter with a 90-degree cut. Side 2, 12 inches to long point, 15-degree miter to a 90-degree cut. Back, 13.5, 90-degree to 90-degree. Your top, 7 inches, 90 to 90. Bottom is going to be 5.5. Your corners are going to be cut off to a 45, 90 to 90. And when I mean the 45s, I saw a couple of birdhouses online where they allow those corners to be open so that air can flow through. Now your front is going to have a 90-degree cut on the back, but it's going to have a 15-degree on the bottom of the door. It's at 8 7/8 from this measurement to this measurement. Depending on how far you set this in, I just took another board and placed it there and nailed it in place, and that made 3/4 up. So give or take, it should be 8 7/8 with a 1.5 inch opening for the bird to get in. Okay, now that we're at the saw, the first cut that I'm going to make is at 15 degree for the bottom of my door. I'm going to touch the tooth down on the saw, hands not really on the trigger, until I get my board in place. And I like that right there. That out of the way, set the saw back to 90 and make all these to my miter. Actually, I gotta clean this one back up to a 90. It's your bottom piece. There's your top piece. I'm gonna slow it down. Back piece. Now I have a 15 degree miter. I'm going to cut directly in the middle of this line. I'm actually going to take them like this, line them up, put them on my fence a little bit more, take the blade and get it right on that line where I need it. That way I know that these two boards are exactly the same. So before you get away from the saw, you want to take your bottom piece and your two sides and your back, and this is going just like this on the bottom, right? And we want to make a mark right off the side and trim that off. Where plug it in? Bring the tooth down, see where I'm going to cut, and alright, trim a little more off of that. Now what you want to do, bring this over to 45. Place that on 45 degree angle. Take this over. Bring your saw blade down, and you want to take a little bit off, but you want them all to be even. So you want to make a mark right off the back of that piece. And make your cut. Turn it. Get it to your line. And cut. You have to flip it and then cut these. And then you'll have a piece like that. So we're going to go over to the table and now we're going to assemble. A couple of measurements to get these holes for the screws that are going to act like the hinge. You're going to go 9.5 from the bottom and 3/8 from the side, which they're going to be mirrored image. It's easier to measure from the bottom than this angle. Get a more accurate measurement. They line up pretty nice. If you go over here, your eye screw is going to be 4.5 from the bottom and then 2 3/4 from the side. With your 3/16 inch bit, make a hole and that'll be able to allow the perch to be put in. The hole saw, which is going to allow the opening for the bird, is going to be 6 1/4 from the bottom, 2 3/4 from the side. So 6 1/4, 2 3/4, 1.5 inch hole saw, 4.5, 2 3/4, 3/16 inch bit for your eye screw. Now I've already countersinked these two to help speed it along. We'll just set these aside, bring over your front piece, which you're gonna have your marks already on it, countersink, and just give it a nice little tap on both of them. Bring over your hole saw, hang it over the edge, and go to the 3/16 inch bit, hang it over the edge, straight as possible, go through, and then your front is done. You're going to have these two sides where it's going to be 1 inch from the top and 3/8 from the side, and we're going to get our marks for the screw for the hinge. So we take this, center punch it, center punch it. I like to use the countersink. That way you're not taking away too much for the thread. Flip it over. Another helpful tip is measure from 3/8 from both the front. Don't measure one from the back and then one from the front. This isn't always a perfect 3/4. It'll mess up. So that'll do for the front. Remember, 3/8 from the front and 1 inch from the top. Set that aside and we'll get ready to put it together. Now when assembling, you're going to want to take your bottom, put it flush with the bottom of the back piece, and make a mark. Take your back and give a healthy squirt of glue. Have a bucket of water with a rag handy. Just put this right here. Very nice. Get that excess off. glue. Around. Make sure they're flush on the bottom. Let's put the top on next. Before you cut your top, or before you put your top on, there is a 15-degree cut that's going to have to be right here to make this flush on the back. So I'm going to go over to the saw, cut this 15 degrees. I did forget that, but this is supposed to be a 15-degree cut. That way when you put this along the back, it'll match up nicely. So let's go ahead and nail this on. We're going to pull this to where it straightens it out. Nail that. Nail this edge. Make sure this is flush right here. Nail that. Nail that. And then make sure that this back is pretty sealed. Let me get this wiped up. Your back, or your bottom, and your back, you made this line on the back side right here. What you're going to do is put a little bit of glue on 3 sides. Squeeze that in here like so, right on that line, and then the best of your ability, get this nailed in. And even along the back, through all the excess glue needs to be cleaned off. And I'm going to put the front on. You need your apex. We're going to put the front on, so you need your apex, and with whatever screws you found. And that looks like it's going to fit nicely. So then, just get her started. And I should find that hole without too much trouble. And this side. Just back it off a little bit. You want it to be able to hinge like so. So that works. Now, I'm gonna find this right here and this, which is going to be your latch. Precision screwdriver. This is a pH 0. These are very small precision screws. Doesn't take much to get them in and started, but definitely line it up close to the edge of that one. And that should go right in. And this right here should go right in. Now with this side latch, these are very flimsy, but you want it to be in the closed position. Take this. All right. Grab your eye screw, and with just a little bit of force, you should be able to screw that right in. I put my finger around the back to make sure that it's not poking in, harm the bird when it's going down into the box. That's about it. And there is your finished birdhouse. Not too bad. It's going to need some wood putty, maybe some light sanding, get the excess glue off. But for the most part, the assembly is complete. Now it's ready for paint. Okay, so we just finished up assembling this one here, which is all ready for paint. The measurements all worked out perfect. This one is the one we started out with. My youngest and oldest put their handprints on it to kind of personalize it. Mom really got a kick out of that one. I painted them white only because I think that it'd be a lot cooler in there than any darker paint. The birdhouses we built are definitely under 6 foot. So with the 8-foot board, you may have quite a few more options as far as making a pitched roof, like a 45 pitched roof. We have a 15 degree. This is pretty much the same as the other one that we built, 1.5-inch overhang. The birdhouses here are primarily going to be used for bluebirds. Hopefully, the 1.5 inch doesn't allow much else to get in there and nest. Really excited to get them out there and see what nests in them. We have a lot of starlings that make it almost challenging for songbirds to find nesting areas. So really excited to see what comes and visits and actually nests. We are in August, so I don't even think we're going to set these out until next year. Everything's pretty much getting ready to fly south, but it gave my oldest something to do with COVID and everything like that. We're looking for projects, and this was a good one. If any of you finish one, build, and have anything nested, we'd like to hear back from you. If you could just give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, we'd like to hear back. Thank you.